Om yo brahmanam vidadhati purvam yo vai vedanscha prahinoti tasmai tam ha devamatma buddhi prakasham mumukshurvai sharanamaham prapadye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsharishibhyo Mahabhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Sarvopaplavarahitaha Prajnanakanaha Pratyagartho Brahmaivahamasmi Brahmaivahamasmi. Vedantartha vibhasakaya gurave Shantaya sannyasine Nanavadi nagendra sanghapavaye Yogindra Vandyaya cha Mohatvanta Divakaraya Bhagavat Pada Vidham Vibhrate Tasmai Bhashakrite Namostu Satatam Purnaya Bodhatmane. Om. We are on the verse number 23 of the second chapter. Let us recite the verse once and then proceed further. Nainam chindanti shastrani Nainam dahati pavakaha Na chainam kledayantyapo Na shoshayati marutaha Nainam chindanti shastrani Nainam dahati pavakaha Na chainam kledayantyapo Na shoshayati marutaha. Enam shastrani na chindanti. This meaning prakritam atma, this self cannot be destroyed, cannot be cleaved, cannot be cut, cannot be torn by the weapons. So now the weapons are incapable of destroying atma. No matter whichever weapon it is, a weapon some as primitive as just a sling, yet, or as modern as some atomic bomb, a missile, none of these weapons have capacity to destroy the self. Okay? Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha. The fire cannot burn it down. So the self is not destroyed even by the fire. Fire destroys so many things. And so even massive cities also can be destroyed by the fire. Nachainam kledayantyapo. Even the water cannot destroy this Atma. By the very virtue that water can wet something, Bhagavan Shankaracharya, when we are going to look into a little more details of this shloka, it will come to surface to our knowledge as how do these elements become the agents of destruction. By their very functioning, they tend to destroy. Na paha, na shoshayati marutaha, Even the wind is not able to dry the self. Na shoshayati marutaha. It is recorded that so many of the freedom fighters who were fighting for the political freedom during the India's freedom struggle from the colonial rule of the British were hung to death. And as they were being taken through the gallows with the noose around their neck, this was the shloka, this was the verse that they chanted, that this self cannot be destroyed. Even the emperors and the political powers, if they think that this is what is going to destroy the self, they are wrong. Because the self cannot be destroyed by weapons, water, fire, wind, none of these elements which naturally become the agents of destruction for everything have no capacity to destroy the self. This is what is the nature of this self. If this is the nature of this self, then why am I gripped by this insecurity of getting destroyed, being deteriorated, the old age, the death, the diseases, the viruses, the microbes? Everything tends to bring me so much of insecurity. Why? Because of not knowing what is the nature of the self, one misunderstands the self to be this body, to be the pranas, to be this mind, to be this ego, which by their own nature are bound to be destroyed. And what becomes the cause, one of these agents, whether it is the aging process or a disease or an accident or a murder or anything of that sort, will become the agent of its final destruction is irrelevant. But the fact remains that this body-mind complex is bound with to be destroyed, whereas the indweller, the one who is obtained in this body, this dehi, deha means the body, dehi means the one who resides in the body, or the one who is obtained in the body, the one who is found in this body, that I, aham, that the self is indestructible. None of these agents, and therefore whatever belongs to the category of anatma will naturally get destroyed, deformed, change its structure, change its form, and ultimately in dissolution it will be destroyed. And also the final destruction is destruction through knowledge, where just as the snake on the rope gets destroyed, is no longer even found with it has disappeared even without leaving a trace behind. Just as that, this anatma too is destroyed through knowledge. And therefore, knowledge is the ultimate weapon over here for destruction of everything. But this knowledge is the very nature, this light is the very nature of the self. And so, enam na chindanti shastrani. This is the meaning of that shloka. Now let us look at some details to understand the shloka. So in the prelude to the shloka, we have already gathered the idea that this body, mind, senses, etc., including ego, all of them belong to the category of anatma, as not the self. Okay, then, and they have destruction embedded in it. So whatever is this anatma, whether you consider body under present discussion, or the pranas, or the senses, or the ego, anything, it is bound to be destroyed. So atma and anatma, we have clearly known. One is destructible, one is indestructible. But the doubt that is raised over here is, nanu dehanashe tad abhyantaravartinaha atmanaha kutona vinashaha. Madhusudan Saraswati gives this line as a prelude to this shloka. He says, the opponent or the student over here has a doubt. And he says, let us remember that you are saying the deha and dehi. So by that dehi, you mean the one to whom the deha means the body. By the way, I must also tell you the meaning of word deha. It comes from the verbal root diha upachaye. It means to pile up, to pile up. So this body is what? It is a massive pile of, the bones and muscles and nerves and blood and guts. All these various organs are piled together. It is an assembly. Diha upachaye. So it means it is a pile of all these things. In ultimate analysis of this body, etc., also we will find that it is nothing more than the grossified 5 elements in a particular arrangement. It is an arrangement of various things. Okay, of this way, arrangement of these various elements. That is all. So he says this is the body, and the one to whom the body belongs is Dehi. Another reason why you are saying the Atma is Dehi, the English word would be the embodied one, the one who is obtained, is found in the body, Upalabdha, the one who becomes Upalabdha, the one who is found in this body. So this I cannot be located anywhere. You're going to say, here I am here. Where are you? So you may even say, I am there in Rishikesh. Okay, where in Rishikesh? Where in Rishikesh? So then you will have to say a particular locality. In that whole locality, no. In this particular ashram. In this ashram, everywhere, no. In this particular room, in that room, everywhere, no. In this particular corner, and in that particular corner, in this body. Now, in this body is a proper location, because even if you touch the little finger, are you here? Yes. Hey, are you here? Yes. Are you here? Yes. And whichever part of the body that you may indicate, the answer for I to be located, yes. So the whole body. So the body is a proper location. So where is the Atma now located for us? In the body. This is where one is going to see. Really speaking, this self is all pervading. Okay, is all pervading. But because of the conditioning called as mind, and that mind being identified with this body, now this I is the self is said to be located in the body. Taking that, taking that, we will proceed further. And so embodied in the body. So now in the body, when you are going to say, the student has a doubt, and he says, Dehanashe tad abhyantaravartinaha atmanaha kutona vinashaha. Sir, it is still possible to say that because this Atma is also in the body, Atma will also get destroyed with the destruction of the body. Huh? Because there is no claim of I after the body is destroyed. So Atmanaha Vinashaha, what is wrong in considering that? Kutona Vinashaha. So now he says, understand. Madhusudan Saraswati gives an example, which is a very interesting example. Grihadehe tad antarvarti purushavat. He says, like a house which is on fire. Okay. So now you have a burning house. So burning house means that it is now that house is bound to be destroyed. Now, if this is the case, the person who is living in that house, what about him? He will give up that house and walk out. So he will give it up and go out. Grihade. But the house cannot leave itself and go anywhere. So the house is bound, Griha is bound to get burned down, to be destroyed. Tad antarvarti purushavad, like the one who is the indweller of that house. So also the one who is dwelling in this body remains unscathed, remains untouched by whatever may happen to the body. Because he is the indweller. He uses this as an example. So now this point, what is the point over here? That there is no destruction for Atma. What is destruction? Destruction means vikar. It means the final modification. Amongst the 6 modifications, destruction is the final modification. How is that? How is that said by Yaska Muni? Asti chayate vardhate viparinamate apakshayati, and then apakshiyate apakshiyate, and then vinashyati iti sharbhava vikara. These are the 6 modifications. Out of the 6 modifications, there is the last one is vinasha. Now, another very interesting thing about this, all the 6 modifications is, even if you are able to spot one, know that the other 5 are also associated over there. They will be also there. Vinasha is the final modification. Vikar. Now, in saying that Atma does not get destroyed is because Atma is avikriya, is free from modifications. So this has been the topic which Bhagavan Krishna as a teacher is bringing to the student. Now, in this whole discussion, where the avikriyatvam of Atma is being told in the earlier shloka, will the teacher bring out a topic which is unrelated? Because a lot of people in the earlier shloka, where it was said that the person, just as a person gives up the old worn out clothes and takes to the new clothes, so also this Atma takes to the new bodies when this body becomes worn out, useless, no longer useful for functioning, of delivering the appropriate experiences of, because this body means bhogayatanam. Remember, this is one word for this body. It means bhogayatanam. Ayatanam means the place. It is a place for experiencing the world. And by that world, what exactly are you experiencing from this world? The object may be same, but for the person in front of me, it may be pleasurable. It can be a pleasant experience. But for me, the same object, the same person can become a very unpleasant experience. So, but without locating myself in the body, how would I even have the experiences of, of pleasant and unpleasant? So, over here, the being located in the body, so seated in this body, embodied over here, I am able to. Therefore, this body is called as a place, a location for experiencing, for experiences. Okay, the body, bhogayatana. And depending upon what kind of karma prarabdha is there, the bhogas will arrive. Good, pleasant and unpleasant. So now, over here, this is the case with the body. Huh? This is the case with our body. That the body is filled with, is bound with modifications. Atma is free from modifications. This is the topic that is going on. Somewhere in between, now these people think that the earlier shloka is saying Atma is like some bird flies from one tree to the next tree and flies from one body to another body. Is that what is being said? Atma taking a flight is change of the bodies is being said, which means Atma is changing the body is not what is meant. So no form of change, no form of modification is possible. So Kriya cannot be associated with Atma. Vikriya cannot be associated with Atma. This is actually the whole topic. And now this fellow is explaining how Atma goes from one. This is not at all the topic. Then to explain that, or to say that this is what is said meant by that shloka, would be pulling the shloka out of the context and then imposing on the teacher what is not meant by him. And if this is truly meant, then it means that the teacher is bringing out a topic which is unrelated, asambandha. And a person who speaks something that is non-coherent, something that is non-coherent, without any reference to the earlier one or the next one, then that he is like an intoxicated person blabbering nonsense. Okay, talking nonsense. It will be treated as something like that, only to be ignored, only to be discounted, no meaning associated with it. So if you are saying that this is what is, that Atma changes the body, etc., is meant over here by going from one body to another body, going from one body to another body is not the topic. The topic is Atmanaha avikriyatvam. What is the topic? The topic is of illumining the fact that the nature of the self is free from modifications. If the nature of the self is free from modifications, the next question should be, then how do I find that the modifications are there in me? Because my language is, I was young, I am becoming old, I was sick, I am becoming healthy, I was healthy, I am becoming sick, I was happy, I am becoming sad, I was sad, I have become delighted. All these So modifications are found where? In the self. And what are you saying? The self does not have modifications. So the valid question would be that how then is the modification experienced, seen in this Atma? So now that pratiti, this experience has to be justified. How? Then we are going to say because of ignorance. Because of ignorance. That would be a right question. All right. So now let us understand this this particular shloka. Nainam chindanti shastrani. So Atma is free from modifications is what is the topic. What is the final modification? Destruction. Now we are going to take that up and even show that even this final modification is not possible. Here we go. So generally, we find that something is destroyed either through artificial means or there is a natural destruction, natural process of destruction. Things naturally get destroyed by exposing it to heat, to moisture, that means to water, to wind. Okay, this is how all things naturally get destroyed. And the other artificial way in which things are destroyed is through weapons, etc. So whatever the weapons may be, weapons that may be used by very primitive human beings, like, just getting crushed by pushing a rock, or shooting an arrow, or through something, some weapon. So we have different modes of destruction. Destruction is there. So here he says why this Atma is indestructible, whether it is artificial or whether it is by these natural elements, natural agents of destruction. Now, Niravayavatvad na avayava vibhagam kurvanti shastrani asyadini. Asi means a talwar, a sword, saber. Now, shastrani, sword, etc. Now, beginning from there, whether it is a small little knife, or whether it is a mace, or bow and arrow, or modern weapons like a gun and a rifle and a cannonball, or it could be a missile or a bomb. Sit down over there. Shastras, these weapons cannot do that. So the word is Shastra. Shastra. The word Shastram, this is the Vyutpatti. Shasyante padarthaha ebhihi iti shastrani. That which cuts in the sense of what chops, cuts, pounds, grounds, pulverizes, whatever. Shasyante padarthaha. Objects are cut or disintegrated by that. So that by which the objects are destroyed is called as Shastra. Okay, it is called as, that's why the word Shastra. Why? Shasyante padarthaha ebihi. By these. That's why Shastram. Sir, but why do these weapons, why are these weapons incapable of destroying the self? So there has to be something. Because the self, that what is getting destroyed, also should have the capacity to get destroyed, to get affected. If it cannot get affected, it cannot be even destroyed. So here he says, Niravayavatvad. Why? Because the self is Niravayava. Avayava means a part. And many avayavas, many parts come together making an assembly. Now, because it is a composite, it is a joint, it is a composite, it is possible to segregate it. That is not that what you do through electrolysis to the water, that the molecules of oxygen and the molecules of hydrogen are separated. Why? How? Because they are put together, in the sense they are sitting together. This sitting together, this being they being joined. Now this joint can be separated. Once this is separated, once there is no sambandha between them, now it cannot be called as water, because this is oxygen, this is hydrogen. So here, so whatever is savayava, whatever is what do they call? Is constructed of parts. Now it is possible that it gets destroyed. How? When the parts, because the parts can be separated. The parts can be separated. Atma, the self, is Niravayava. Aham is without parts. The body is with parts. The pranas are with parts. The senses, etc. You can experience this capacity to see is also, or capacity to hear is also with parts, because just as a person who now develops some hearing disability, but now he does not become totally deaf. He says that I was able to hear things when my capacity was sharp, but these days I have to put a strain to listen to what people are saying, which means that the capacity, there was more capacity before, it has become less, which means some part of it has gone away. So whether it is the indriyas, it is the pranas, it is the body, all of them are what? Parts sticking together. Savayava padarthas. They are how? Savayava padarthas. Atma is Niravayava, and therefore na avayava vibhagam kurvanti shastrani. Even these weapons will be able to destroy, and something will be called as destroyed only when it is disintegrated. Those parts which are integrated are now disintegrated, separated. Because of that, shastrani niravayavatvad na avayava vibhagam kurvanti shastrani asyadini. Oh, shastrani is like the sword, etc. Now in that etc, put as many things as you want. Cannot be. Agnirapina bhasmi karoti. Now let us turn our attention to those agents which are natural agents of destruction. So few things exposed to heat will eventually get destroyed. So, well, because even getting exposed to sun, wind, even the massive rocks, also slowly we know that they are disintegrating. Water flowing, water is such a soft thing, but when it flows over the rocks for centuries together, now you will see that even though that soft flow of water also has cleaved the rock, also has shaped the rock. That is how even those canyons are created, get created in our natural process. Agnirapina bhasmi karoti. This fire cannot destroy. And how? What is the way in which the fire destroys? By burning it down. Exposure to the heat. Na bhasmi karoti. Turns it into ash. Turning into ash means whatever form, whatever shape it was, now that shape is lost. Because that shape is lost, you cannot call it as that object which it used to be called before. This itself is destruction of that object. So Agnirapi, so this, for example, this is a paper, and then you put the paper is square in shape, etc., with certain thickness, some weight, whatever it is. Then put it to fire, and it becomes ash. Now it is not paper, the same shape, name, no function. It cannot have the same function as a paper. It does not have the same shape, form, properties. Everything has changed. It is ash. So like that, Agni destroys. Agni means the fire. It destroys. But how? By making it lose its form. Bhasmi karoti, by turning it into ash. Agnirapina bhasmi karoti, but this Agni cannot burn this self, and therefore it does not have any effect. Bhasmi karoti. Apam hi savayavasya vastunaha ardri bhava karanena avayava vishleshapadane samarthyam. Now let us know, how does water, moisture destroys things. And so he says, how does Sri Krishna Bhagavan simply says, na kledayantyapaha, that the water does not wet it. Now what is wrong in wetting? But remember that this is the only way how even water or moisture, water means basically, moisture means it is basically presence of water. Okay. Also is responsible for destroying something. Now, the same thing, because Atma is Niravayava. But in the Savayava Padarthas, in those objects which are a composite, when water is applied to it, what happens is that the water now makes their composite lose their contact with the other elements, and thus all of those things which have integrated together, those ingredients now separate, and therefore this is the destruction. Apam hi savayava vastunaha ardri bhava karanena. Ardri bhava karanena, by making it moist. Now what happens? Avayava vishleshapadane samarthyam. Now those parts can be separated. This is the samarthyam of water. This is the power how the water destroys. Vishleshapadane samarthyam. Now there is one process of our meditation too, in which this is just as a little prasangantar. We have little time. Yes, we can discuss this over here. Now, what happens is, for meditation, how Swami Maharaj used to say that consider that from the toes up to the Mooladhara Chakra. From the toes up to the Mooladhara Chakra. Consider this as to be the earth element. This is the earth element. Then from Mooladhara to Swadhisthana. Now, though I'm using these words in language of these chakras, you can do your homework. Up to the Swadhisthana, consider that as to be the water element. Okay, this is the water element. Then from Swadhisthana up to the Manipura Chakra, navel. Consider this to be the fire element. From the Manipura Chakra up to the heart, Vishuddhi Chakra. Consider this to be the what do they say? The Vayu, the wind element. From there, from the heart up to the throat. What is that? The heart chakra, Anahata Chakra, sorry, not Vishuddhi. From the Anahata Chakra up to the Vishuddhi Chakra. Now this is the Akasha. And from here to the Ajna Chakra is the Mahat Tattva. From here up to the Sahasrara is Prakriti Avyaktam, unmanifest. So this is whole range of manifest. But now the thing is that one should meditate how in the process of dissolution. So this body, now this entire world is nothing but 5 elements. And now this entire world is seen only as this body. So this earth element is now merged, dissolved into the water element. The water element is merged or dissolved into the fire element. So it is destroyed by the fire. Now this fire is destroyed by the wind. The wind is destroyed by the space. Now you see all of them eventually become agents of destruction for each other. And therefore, over here, this is one process. This is for bhavana, for doing the bhavana, for doing the as a process of one technique of meditation. But over here also there is this destruction of all the elements. So Agnirapi bhasmi na karoti apam hi savayavasya vastunaha artri bhava karanena avayava vishlesha padane samartham tanna niravayavasya sambhavati. But even when the water also destroys by separating those parts, but that which is partless, how then the water can destroy it? Niravayavasya katham sambhavati tanna sambhavati. It is not possible. Tatha snehavad dravyam sneha shoshanena nashayati vayu. So also those things which are snehavat means wet. Wetness. We can use this. So those objects which are there because of it, presence of moisture, those objects are destroyed by the wind because the wind dries them up. Tatha snehavat dravyam sneha shoshanena nashayati vayu. This is how even all these elements destroy everything else. The whole anatma, it is consumed. And ultimately, even the akash is also absorbed. Even the space is absorbed in the unmanifest. Over here, what do you find? What do you find? That which is unmanifest becomes manifest as these five elements, and again these elements become unmanifest. Manifestation, unmanifestation is going on, but that which is the witness, which is the illuminator of all these, is free from this drama of coming out, coming in, manifest, unmanifest, everything. In fact, that which is coming and going, manifest and unmanifest, is anatma. And what is the true status of this anatma is, it is only an appearance, mithya padartha. So atma is satyam, anatma is mithya. That is where we have to reach. Not we have to reach, that is the fact. But we have to only understand over here. We simply have to understand. So this is just jnanamatam. There is nothing to be done. All that has to be done is only one should become available to understanding. You cannot do understanding. All that you can do is just prepare yourself to, and jnanam takes place. That's why we are saying that even knowledge is not purusha tantram, it is vastu tantram. It takes place. But to prepare, yes, that is purusha tantram. To become available, yes. No, to come and sit for the lecture, yes. To keep yourself awake, yes. To be alert and to note it down, yes. But when the knowledge takes place, understanding takes place, it just takes place without your voluntary will. It has got no voluntary your involvement. It just happens. So it is like that. So over here, this is how it is. Atma is indestructible. That is what we simply have to understand. Then there is another part of understanding is that if Atma is indestructible, then how do I experience destruction, changes, modifications in the self? That this part demands explanation. This will be that which demands explanation, which means that it needs upapatti. It needs to be justified, explained. Logically, it has to be made understandable. So this is the role where you have to now apply a little more effort. How? So that will also be provided. But here, then Shankarananda, Swami Shankarananda, who is the teacher of Vidyaranya Swami, he writes, Yatha ghatam jalam kledayati shastrani tarayanti vayu shoshayati vahnirdahati tatha tatrastham akasham niravayam na kledayanti na tarayati na shoshayati na dahati tadvad atmanam dehastam api iti bhavaha. What was your doubt? That why this Atma will not be destroyed? Because this Atma is in the body. To this question, Shankarananda Swami, Shankarananda explains, he says, Yatha ghatam, like the pot. Now this pot, the water can destroy the pot. Let us consider it is a clay pot. It is a clay pot, and it is still, what do they say, raw, and the potter has made the pot, but he has yet not baked it. And if you put it in the water, so even if a baked pot also can be destroyed by water with its effect for a long time. Okay, but for as an example, we are just considering this, that this water will disintegrate all the molecules, all the particles, and thus the pot will be destroyed. So, ghatam kledayati, by making it moist, that pot will be destroyed by water through the process of moistening it. Through the process of moistening it. So, jalam kledayati, shastrani tadayanti, through a stick or through something, through a mace, it can be what are they, made into fragments or pulverized. That pot can be pulverized through some shastra, through a weapon. Then vayu shoshayati, hey, it can be even exposed to wind, and eventually it will get destroyed. Vahnir tahati, even the extreme fire will also burn it down. Tatha. So this is the case of that pot. But he says, tatrastham akasham, the space is there in the pot. Will the space also be destroyed with the destruction of the pot? Does the space gets destroyed with destruction of the pot? No. What is the reason? What is the reason that you are saying that the space does not get destroyed? And we will say, because the space is partless. The space is partless. Akasham niravayavam na kledayanti na tadayati na shoshayati na dati, etc. That it cannot be pulverized, it cannot be made moist, it cannot be dried, it cannot be burnt. It cannot be. Nadahati tadvad, exactly like that. Dehastham iti atmanam dehastham iti bhavaha. Just as that the space in the pot is in no way destroyed by these agents of destruction, because the space is niravayava, because the space is partless. Exactly like that, the self being partless, niravayava, cannot be destroyed. So the question was, that the earlier doubt from where we began, since that Atma is in the body, Atma also should get destroyed with the destruction of the body, is answered over here. So now what is our understanding of the shloka is, etena chararogadayo bhautikashchopadravaha sarve sharirasya na atmanaha ahamarthasya evaiti. Etena, by this what we understand is that the old age, senility, then whatever sickness, illness, etc., all of these things belong to the body. Bhautikashcha upadravaha, all these things, upadravas, they belong to the body. Sharirasya na atmanaha, they do not belong to the atma. What is atma? Ahamarthaha, that what is meant by, that what is actually meant by the word I, aham, that what is the true meaning of word aham is indestructible. Okay. Dehadi bhinnatvena atmano deham vishayikritya prapta anarthagochartvamulakam. Uttam. Now, but then this is the upapatti. He says that why do I experience then all these things, that I have become old and I have become weak and I'm going to die or I am dying? Because Vishayikritya, that the that which is, that what is meant by the word aham, that what is meant by the word I is Atma. But you are confusing and are bringing the meaning to this word which does not belong to this word I. What are you bringing? Body, etc., into the ambit of this word to mean it. And therefore, this is the problem. Prapta anartha gocharatvam. This is the anartha. Anartha is found. So dehadi bhinnatvena atmano deham. How that is that? Tatasteshu prapteshu api sthira prajnaya brahmavidhihi sthatavyam iti suchitam. Now, since that you know what is the nature of the self, since you know that the nature of the self is Brahman, now what you do is that even when you find this anartha, when you find, this destruction around you, yet sthira prajnaya, make your understanding stable. Make this understanding stable. Do not allow this knowledge to be overpowered by error. Now you stay alert. Let not this flame be overpowered by the wind around. Okay. Sthira prajnaya brahmavajtihi sthatavyam. This is how the Brahmajnani should stay stable, is what is the message over here of this shloka. Okay. Now we will still continue. Yes. We will still continue with the topic of understanding Atma is avikriya when we meet next. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Thank you all. Thank you very much.